I wish I had passed out and I didn't see all the stuff I saw, but unfortunately I saw everything. The bike accident wasn't my fault, and I had a lot of bitterness and anger and unforgiveness in my heart because of losing my leg and the trauma I went through. So in 2006 I started studying engineering at UCT and I bought myself a motorbike. And then in February 2007 I was involved in a really bad motorbike accident and I lost my leg above the knee. Luckily at the time my youth pastor heard the accident from across the road. He ran across the road and tied his belt around my leg and stopped the bleeding, saved my life. I was in hospital for about a month, almost died of my injuries, mostly because of loss of blood. And yeah, I'm very thankful to God that I'm still here today. So at the time of my accident, I was studying engineering at UCT, and I decided to drop those studies because it was in engineering I'd have to be out and about, outside and walking a lot. So I decided that wasn't going to be the thing for me because I'd struggle to walk outdoors a lot with a prosthetic leg. So I decided to start studying medical orthotics and prosthetics, which involves making prosthetic legs for people, because I thought if I'm wearing a prosthetic leg, then I'll be able to help out people in a similar circumstance to me. The orthotics and prosthetics course was in Pretoria, and then I moved back to Cape Town, which is my home, and I started going to a JoshGen church, which one of my good friends invited me to. My community leader at the time, he challenged me on my unforgiveness and bitterness I had in my heart towards the person who caused my motorbike accident. The bike accident wasn't my fault, and the car kind of turned in front of my lane and took my leg off on the scene. I wish I had passed out and I didn't see all the stuff I saw, but unfortunately I saw everything, and I had a lot of bitterness and anger and unforgiveness in my heart because of losing my leg and the trauma I went through. So, as I said, my community leader at the time told me that this unforgiveness and bitterness is not good and it's not from God. Ultimately, he said, "Listen, you got to forgive this. You got to forgive this guy for taking your leg off." Even though I didn't want to, I understood that it was something I had to do because God had forgiven me of my sins. Because of Jesus dying on the cross for me. So I understood because of that, I had to forgive this guy for taking my leg off. It's a real long, hard process to go through, forgiving someone that you don't really want to forgive, but it's something you have to decide in your heart and in your head that you have to do it and you want to do it. And once you've made the decision that you're going to do it, it becomes a little bit easier. Even now, like I still struggle with it sometimes, but because I know I've chosen to forgive this guy and I have forgiven him, that I know that I'm good with God. It's crazy, it can bring up like emotions, like so long ago. I'm okay, Luana. Living with unforgiveness in your heart is a really difficult thing to keep with you. It's really tough to live with that unforgiveness, and God calls us to forgive people just because Jesus died on the cross and God forgave our sins. If you're struggling with unforgiveness, try and process that with one of your leaders. It's what God has asked us to do, is to forgive one another as He has forgiven us. And to be honest, it's quite better than the alternative, going to hell. I'm still working in government at the moment. I'm actually in charge of the prosthetics department for the Western Cape Department of Health, which is a real blessing from God. I really believe He provided me with the promotion I got. Cindy, who's my wife, I actually met studying in 2012, and we got married in 2014. So to be honest, if I hadn't lost my leg, I wouldn't have met my wife, and I wouldn't be in the life I'm living at the moment, which I think is a really good life. So even though I went through losing my leg, I think I still came out better in the end. And what I've learned is that God's love covers a multitude of things, whether it's unforgiveness, whether it's the trauma you've been through or hurt that you're going through. God's love really covers everything, and He's always going to be there for us.